Hey, welcome to Imagine BL Story. My name is Riyav, and I'm wishing you a joyful, exciting, and love-filled holiday season. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy today's holiday special story. The axe came down hard, splitting the pine log with a satisfying crack that echoed across the snow-covered Montana Valley. Sasha Ward let the momentum carry through, yanked the axe free, and moved to the next log with the mechanical efficiency of someone who'd been doing this since he was 12. 27 trees chopped, processed, and ready for sale. Approximately 3% of the inventory he'd needed to move by Christmas to make the mortgage payment. He was so forked. Sasha drove the axe into the chopping block and straightened, his breath misting in the late afternoon cold. December 23rd, and Ward Family Trees had sold a grand total of 48 Christmas trees this season. Last year it had been 90. The year before 130. The trajectory wasn't just downward, it was a death spiral. His Omega scent, pine needles and wood smoke, usually subtle enough to pass for beta, sharpened with stress despite the suppressants he'd taken that morning. Not that it mattered. There was no one around for miles to notice, and that was half the problem. The farm was too remote, too rundown, too everything that made customers drive the extra hour to the bigger lots near Kalispell. Sasha, sweetheart. His mother's voice carried from the farmhouse, high and uncertain in the way that meant she was having a bad day. Sasha, where's your father? He was supposed to fix the fence. Sasha's chest tightened. He pulled off his work gloves and headed toward the house, preparing himself for the conversation they'd had approximately 300 times in the past year. Selena Ward stood on the front porch in her bathrobe and slippers despite the cold, her graying hair uncombed, confusion written across features that used to be sharp and competent. She was 58 but looked older, the Alzheimer's stealing her faster than any of the doctors had predicted. Mom, it's December. The fence is fine. Come back inside, you'll freeze. Sasha guided her gently back through the door, into the warmth of the old farmhouse that smelled like the cinnamon candles he kept burning because she liked them. But your father... Selena looked around, distress growing. Where is he? He always does the fence before winter. Dad's gone, Mom. He died 4 years ago. Remember? The words hurt every time, even though he'd said them 100 times. Selena's face crumpled, the information hitting her like it was brand new. Oh, that's right. The accident. I forgot again. It's okay. Sasha helped her into her favorite chair, pulled a blanket over her lap. It's okay to forget. That's not your fault. She looked up at him, and for just a moment her beta eyes were clear and sharp. I'm getting worse, aren't I? The lucidity was somehow worse than the confusion. Sasha knelt beside her chair, took her hand. You're okay, Mom. I've got you. The farm. I'm handling it. Liar. She smiled sadly, back to herself for these brief, cruel minutes. We're going to lose it, aren't we? Sasha couldn't lie when she was lucid. Probably. Yeah. Your father would be so disappointed. Dad would understand. Sasha squeezed her hand. He'd just want you taken care of. That's what matters. What about you? When I'm gone? And don't argue. We both know I'm going. What happens to you? Selena's eyes were wet. You're 29 years old, and you've spent the last 5 years sacrificing everything for me. You should be out there living, finding an alpha, having a life. I am living. This is my life. And I don't need an alpha. They're more trouble than they're worth. Sasha stood, moved to the kitchen to start dinner. Now, how about we make those Christmas cookies you love? Get them ready for tomorrow? Tomorrow. The clarity was already fading, her expression going vague again. Christmas Eve. We always make cookies on Christmas Eve. Oh, yes, that's nice. She smiled, the confusion returning but gentler now. Your father loves my ginger snaps. Sasha didn't correct her this time, just pulled out the mixing bowls and pretended his father would be home for cookies, pretended the farm wasn't failing, pretended he wasn't drowning in medical bills and mortgage payments and the crushing weight of watching his mother disappear piece by piece. The radio on the kitchen counter crackled to life with a weather alert. Massive winter storm system moving in from Canada. Blizzard warnings in effect for all northern counties. Heavy snow, zero visibility, dangerous road conditions expected through December 26th. Residents should shelter in place. Sasha turned it off. He knew. He'd been watching the storm track for 2 days, had already secured the barn, brought extra firewood to the porch, checked the generator. They were as ready as they'd ever be for 3 days snowed in with no power and no help coming. Just him, his mother, and about 200 unsold Christmas trees. Merry freaking Christmas. The crash came at 8:47 p.m., just as the blizzard hit full force. Sasha had gotten his mother to bed, checked the animals one last time, and was settling in with financial paperwork he didn't want to look at when the sound of metal on would tore through the howling wind. A sickening crunch that could only mean someone had hit something badly. His barn. Someone had hit his barn. Sasha grabbed his father's hunting rifle from the rack by the door, shoved his feet into boots, and headed out into the storm. The wind hit him like a physical force, snow so thick he could barely see 10 feet ahead. He followed the sound of a still-running engine toward the barn, and his stomach dropped at what he found. A black SUV, expensive, probably foreign, had crashed through the wooden fence and collided with the barn's support beam. The impact hard enough to crack the wood and send one side of the roof sagging. The vehicle's front end was crumpled, steam rising from the hood, and through the driver's side window Sasha could make out a figure slumped over the steering wheel. He approached carefully, rifle raised, because people didn't crash into isolated Montana farms in the middle of blizzards by accident. When he got close enough, the smell hit him. Alpha pheromones so strong they cut through the snow and cold, making Sasha's Omega instincts fire despite the suppressants. Not just any alpha, powerful one. Sasha yanked open the driver's door, and the man inside stirred, lifting his head with obvious effort. Dark hair, sharp features, expensive suit under a wool coat, and blood. A lot of blood, soaking through his shirt on his left side and shoulder, and a gun, coming up fast to point directly at Sasha's chest. They stared at each other through the falling snow, Sasha's rifle aimed at the stranger's head, the stranger's handgun aimed at Sasha's heart. "You crashed into my barn," Sasha said flatly. "You're bleeding all over my property, and you're pointing a gun at me. Merry freaking Christmas." The alpha's dark eyes were struggling to focus, his alpha sense spiking with aggression and pain. "Where am I?" "Montana, middle of nowhere, about 40 miles from anything resembling civilization." Sasha didn't lower his rifle. "And that blizzard just cut us off from everything for the next 3 days. So you picked a hell of a time to die on my land." The alpha's nostrils flared, scenting properly for the first time. His expression shifted, surprise, then something predatory. "You're an Omega, and you're a genius. Harvard." Sasha's finger stayed on the trigger. "Now put the gun down before you pass out and shoot yourself in the dick." "Not until you." The alpha's words slurred, his gun hand wavering. "Not until." He collapsed forward, unconscious, and Sasha barely caught him before he fell out of the SUV face first into the snow. Fuck. Sasha checked for a pulse, strong, steady, and tried to assess the damage. 2 gunshot wounds from what he could tell. Neither immediately fatal, but both bleeding badly. The alpha was heavy, solid muscle under the expensive clothes, and getting him to the house was going to be a nightmare. Sasha holstered his rifle across his back, grabbed the alpha under his arms, and started dragging him through the snow toward the farmhouse. His Omega strength was deceptive. Years of farm work had built muscle most Omegas didn't carry, but the alpha still outweighed him by at least 40 pounds. Halfway to the house, his mother appeared on the porch in her nightgown, completely lucid for once. "Sasha Ward, is that a body?" "He's not dead yet. Help me get the door." "Oh my God, you brought home a man." Selena hurried to hold the door open, her beta practicality overriding any concern about the blood or the storm. "About time, sweetheart. I was starting to worry." "Mom, this is not a date. This is a car accident victim who might be a criminal." "Well, he's very handsome. Good bone structure." Selena helped Sasha maneuver the unconscious alpha through the door and onto the living room couch. "Is he an alpha?" "He smells expensive." "He's definitely an alpha. Help me get his jacket off. I need to see how bad the wounds are." Together they removed the alpha's wool coat, and Sasha's stomach dropped at what he found underneath. A shoulder holster with a very expensive-looking handgun, a knife strapped to his belt, extra magazines for the gun, and when Sasha checked the coat pockets, a wallet with several IDs under different names and at least $5,000 in cash. "What the fuck did I just drag into my house?" Sasha muttered. "Language," his mother said automatically, but she was frowning at the weapons too. "Should we call someone? With what phone?" Storm took out the landline and cell service. Sasha started cutting away the alpha's shirt to expose the wounds. "We're on our own until this blizzard clears, which means I'm either saving this guy's life or watching him die on our couch, and I'd really prefer option 1. The gunshot wounds were bad but not catastrophic, through and through on the shoulder, lodged bullet in the side that Sasha would have to extract. He'd done field medicine on injured animals plenty of times. How different could a person be? Very different, it turned out. Animals didn't have alpha pheromones that made Sasha's hands shake and his omega instincts scream about wounded alphas needing care and protection. Go get my first aid kit from the bathroom, Sasha told his mother. The big one. And boil some water. Like in the movies. Selena brightened, her confusion fading when she had a task. I can do that. Sasha was left alone with the unconscious alpha, whose scent was filling the small farmhouse now that they were out of the cold. Expensive cologne, gunpowder, dark coffee, and underneath it all, blood and pain and something that made Sasha's omega biology sit up and pay attention despite every rational thought screaming this was a bad idea. He forced himself to focus on the medical situation, not the pheromones. Cleaned the wounds, extracted the bullet from the alpha side with steady hands and tweezers, stitched both injuries with the kind of rough efficiency that would have made a real doctor wince but would keep the alpha from bleeding out. The alpha regained consciousness halfway through the stitching, his dark eyes snapping open and his hand immediately going for a weapon that wasn't there anymore. Easy, Sasha said, not looking up from his work. You're in my house, you're being stitched up, and all your weapons are currently locked in my gun safe where you can't shoot me for saving your life. The alpha's gaze focused on Sasha, taking in the omega bent over him with a needle, the simple farmhouse, the sound of Selena humming in the kitchen. Who are you? Sasha Ward. You crashed into my barn. I dragged your heavy ass inside. You're welcome. Sasha tied off the stitch, started on the next one. Now, want to tell me why you have 2 gunshot wounds and enough weapons to supply a small militia? The alpha's jaw tightened. No. Fair enough. Want to tell me your real name? Because I found 3 different IDs in your wallet. No. Are people going to come looking for you? The alpha's sense spiked, aggression warning. Probably. Great. Wonderful. I love hosting armed strangers during blizzards. Sasha finished the stitching, started bandaging. Well, mystery man, you're stuck here for the next 3 days minimum. Storm's too bad for anyone to get in or out, which means you're at my mercy. So let's establish some ground rules. I don't take orders from Omegas. Sasha's hands stilled. He looked up slowly, his omega scent sharpening with irritation. You're bleeding on my couch in my house, after I just spent 40 minutes pulling a bullet out of your side with farm equipment. So actually, yeah, you do take orders from this omega. Starting with, try not to die because I don't want to bury a body in frozen ground. The alpha stared at him, something shifting in his expression. Surprise, maybe respect. You're not what I expected. And you're exactly what I expected. An alpha with more ego than sense. Sasha finished the bandaging, stood up, and immediately regretted it as a wave of alpha pheromones hit him full force. The stranger's scent was overwhelming now that he was awake and conscious, his alpha biology responding to Sasha's omega proximity in ways that made Sasha's suppressants feel completely inadequate. Rich, dark, commanding, the kind of scent that usually made omegas go pliant and submissive. Sasha's biology wanted to respond, wanted to submit, to soothe, to care for this wounded alpha. Sasha's brain told his biology to shut the fuck up. You need rest, Sasha said, stepping back to put distance between them. And probably antibiotics, but I don't have anything stronger than what I use on the horses. You're also running a fever, so I heal fast. The alpha tried to sit up, failed, his face going pale. Fuck. Yeah, you're a picture of health. Lie down before you rip your stitches. I need to. The alpha looked around, urgent. My phone. Where's my phone? In your jacket. No service anyway. GPS. Need to turn off GPS. They'll track. He was trying to stand now, swaying dangerously. Sasha pushed him back down with one hand on his chest. Jesus Christ, you're going to hurt yourself. Who's tracking you? The alpha's hand caught Sasha's wrist, his grip surprisingly strong for someone who'd just been unconscious. His dark eyes locked onto Sasha's, and for a moment the air between them went electric with pheromones and tension. People who want me dead, the alpha said quietly, which means being near me puts you in danger. So you should probably let me leave. Into a blizzard? With 2 bullet wounds? Yeah, that'll go great. Sasha pulled his wrist free, ignoring how his omega instincts whined at the loss of contact. Look, I don't know who you are or what you're running from, and honestly, I don't care. You're here, you're hurt, and I'm not the kind of person who throws injured people into snowstorms. So you're staying until the storm clears, and then you can leave and I can forget this ever happened. You don't understand. You're right. I don't want to. Sasha grabbed the alpha's jacket, started going through pockets methodically. Found the phone, turned it off, removed the battery. There. No GPS happy. The alpha watched him with an expression Sasha couldn't read. You're either very brave or very stupid. I'm a Montana Omega who runs a failing Christmas tree farm and takes care of his mother with Alzheimer's. Brave, stupid. Pick your favorite. I've been called worse. Sasha tossed the phone parts onto the side table. Now stay on the couch. Try not to bleed on anything else. And in the morning we'll figure out what to do with you. He left before the alpha could respond. Heading to the kitchen where his mother was making cocoa like this was a perfectly normal evening. He seems nice, Selena said, back in her confused state. Her beta nose not picking up any of the pheromone chaos. Is he staying for Christmas? Looks like it. Sasha accepted the cocoa mug, his hands still shaking slightly from alpha pheromones and adrenaline. Whether I want him to or not. Outside, the blizzard howled, and in the living room, a dangerous stranger lay wounded on their couch. Sasha had a feeling this was going to be the longest 3 days of his life. The power went out at 2 a.m. Sasha woke to complete darkness and the temperature already dropping. The old farmhouse's insulation no match for Montana winter without the electric baseboards. He grabbed his flashlight, checked on his mother first. She was fine, bundled under 3 quilts, her room warmer than the rest of the house thanks to the small generator-powered space heater. Then he checked the living room and found the alpha trying to stand. What the hell are you doing? The alpha turned, caught in the flashlight beam. He'd gotten his shirt back on somehow, though it was barely buttoned, and he was standing despite obvious pain. His scent was different now. Stronger, sharper. His alpha pheromones spiking in a way that made the hair on Sasha's arms stand up. Power's out. I need to. The alpha swayed, caught himself on the couch arm. Need to check perimeter. Make sure no one followed. No one followed. There's a blizzard. Sit down. Sasha moved toward him, and the alpha's head snapped up, his eyes reflecting the flashlight like an animal's. Don't. The word was half command, half warning. I'm not in control right now. What? Healing. Alpha biology. When we're injured, we heal faster but... The alpha's breath came harsh. Pheromones spike. Hard to control. You're an Omega. You should stay back. Oh fuck. Sasha had heard about this. Alpha healing responses, the way their bodies flooded with hormones and pheromones to speed recovery, making them aggressive and possessive and hypersensitive to Omega scent. It was why hospitals kept healing alphas in isolated rooms away from Omega staff. And Sasha was standing 5 feet away from one in an enclosed space, with his suppressants wearing thin and the alpha's scent already making his Omega instincts purr. How long does this last? Sasha asked, keeping his voice steady. Day. Maybe 2. The alpha's hands were gripping the couch like it was the only thing keeping him upright. You should lock yourself in your room. Don't come near me. I won't. I can't guarantee I'll control myself. Can't do that. You need care. Wound dressing changes, fluids, monitoring for infection. I'll manage. You can barely stand. Sasha. The way the alpha said his name, rough, desperate, made Sasha's Omega biology light up like a Christmas tree. Please. I'm trying to protect you. From me. Should have scared him. Probably would have scared a normal Omega. But Sasha Ward had been taking care of things. The farm, his mother, himself. For 5 years with no help and no backup. He wasn't about to start being scared of an injured alpha, pheromones or not. Here's what's going to happen, Sasha said, moving closer deliberately. You're going to stop being a martyr. I'm going to help you upstairs to the bedroom where the fireplace is, because it's about to get freezing down here. And we're both going to survive the next 48 hours like adults. You don't understand. I understand that you're hurt and stubborn, and your alpha biology is trying to protect me from yourself. Very noble. Also very stupid. Sasha reached out, offered his hand. Now come on. Before we both freeze to death making this harder than it needs to be. The alpha stared at Sasha's hand like it was a trap. If I lose control, you won't. You can't know that. Then I guess we'll find out together. Sasha kept his hand extended, steady. His Omega scent deliberately calm despite his racing heart. Trust me, just for the next 2 days. Can you do that? The alpha took his hand. The moment their skin touched, both of their scents spiked. Alpha pheromones flooding the space, Sasha's Omega biology responding despite the suppressants, chemistry and biology colliding in a way that made the air feel electric. Fuck! the alpha breathed. Yeah, Sasha agreed. His hand steady even as his Omega instincts screamed. Come on, let's get you upstairs before this gets more complicated. Getting the alpha up the stairs was an exercise in torture. Too close, too much contact, both of them hyper-aware of every touch and breath. By the time they reached Sasha's bedroom with its working fireplace, Sasha's suppressants felt like they were doing absolutely nothing. Bed, Sasha directed, helping the alpha sit on the edge of the mattress. I'll get more blankets. You're not sleeping here. It's the only warm room in the house. So yeah, I am. Sasha. Look, Sasha said, turning to face him in the firelight. I know this is weird. I know your alpha biology is freaking out and my omega biology is responding and we're basically a hormone bomb right now. But we're adults and we can handle this. So you take that side of the bed, I'll take this side, and we'll both pretend we're not affected. Deal? The alpha's dark eyes tracked him in the flickering light. You really aren't like any omega I've ever met. I'm going to take that as a compliment. Sasha grabbed extra blankets from the closet. Now, are you going to tell me your real name? Because I'm not calling you Mystery Alpha for 3 days. A pause. Then, Davion. Davion Sandoval. Davion. Sasha tested the name, like the way it felt. Okay. Nice to officially meet you, even if the circumstances are shit. That's one way to put it. Davion was watching him with an intensity that made Sasha's omega instincts flutter. Thank you. For this. For saving me. For not being afraid. Who says I'm not afraid? You're sent. You're annoyed and stressed, but not afraid. Davion's voice was rough. Most omegas would have left me in the barn. Well, I'm not most omegas. Sasha threw him a blanket. Now get some rest. Your alpha healing thing is making my omega biology act weird, and I'd like to get through the night without doing something we'll both regret. Davion's eyes darkened. And if I want to do something we'll both regret? The words hung in the air between them, heavy with pheromones and possibility. Sasha's omega instincts were screaming yes, yes to comfort, yes to claiming, yes to everything this alpha was offering. But his brain knew better. Knew this was biology and proximity and trauma bonding, not real connection. Then you'll wait, Sasha said quietly, because I don't do one-night stands with alphas who are running from people trying to kill them, and you don't do omegas who are just responding to pheromones. What if it's more than pheromones? Then it'll still be more than pheromones when the storm clears and you're healed and we're both thinking straight. Davion was silent for a long moment. Then he nodded. You're right. I'm sorry. The healing response is making you a horny mess. I get it. Sasha climbed into bed fully clothed, kept a careful distance. Just sleep, Davion. We'll figure the rest out tomorrow. But sleeping in the same bed with an alpha in healing response turned out to be impossible. Davion's pheromones filled the room like smoke, rich and commanding, and Sasha's body responded despite his best efforts. Pulse racing, skin heating, omega instincts purring with satisfaction at being near a strong alpha who needed care. Around 4 a.m., Davion's fever spiked again, and Sasha had no choice but to move closer. Use his omega sent to calm the alpha's thrashing, press cool cloths to his forehead, while Davion muttered in what sounded like Italian. Shoo, Sasha murmured, his hand gentle on Davion's chest. You're okay. You're safe. Davion's hand caught his, held tight. Stay. I'm not going anywhere. Promise. The desperation in that single word made Sasha's chest ache. I promise. Just rest. Davion finally settled, and Sasha found himself half-draped across the alpha's chest, Davion's arm around him in sleep, both of them breathing in sync while the fire crackled and the blizzard raged outside. This was dangerous, Sasha thought. This was chemistry and biology and force proximity, and he was an idiot for thinking he could resist it. But when Davion's alpha scent wrapped around him like safety, when his omega instincts finally quieted, when everything in Sasha's complicated, exhausting life suddenly felt bearable because this alpha was holding him. Maybe being an idiot for one night was okay. Just for tonight. Tomorrow he'd go back to being smart. Sasha woke to pale winter sunlight filtering through frost-covered windows and the realization that he was completely tangled up with Davion Sandoval. The alpha's arm was around his waist, Davion's chest pressed against his back, their legs intertwined under the blankets. Davion's scent, no longer spiking with fever but still rich with healing pheromones, surrounded Sasha completely, and his omega instincts were practically purring with contentment. This was bad. This was really bad. Sasha tried to extract himself carefully, but the moment he shifted, Davion's arm tightened, pulling him closer. The Alpha's nose pressed against the back of Sasha's neck, right where his scent gland was, and Davion inhaled deeply. "Don't move," Davion murmured, his voice sleep-rough and somehow even more dangerous than when he was awake. "You smell good. You're scenting me in your sleep. That's creepy. Can't help it. Omega scent. Alpha instincts." Davion's hand splayed possessively over Sasha's stomach. "Especially when the Omega in question spent half the night taking care of me. You had a fever. I was being practical. You were being kind. There's a difference." Davion's lips brushed the back of Sasha's neck. Not quite a kiss, but close enough to make Sasha's breath catch. "Thank you." Sasha needed to move. Needed to put distance between them before his Omega biology did something stupid like present or start nesting or any of the other things Omegas did around compatible alphas. But Davion was warm and solid and made Sasha feel safe in a way he hadn't felt in years, and his traitorous body didn't want to move. "How's your shoulder?" Sasha asked instead, changing the subject. "Better. Told you, alphas heal fast." Davion finally released him, sat up with only a slight grimace. "The wounds are already closing. Should be fully healed by tomorrow." He pulled off his shirt to check the bandages, and Sasha's Omega brain short-circuited at the sight of all that muscle and tanned skin and the tattoos he hadn't noticed last night. Intricate designs across Davion's chest and arms that looked expensive and probably meant something in whatever criminal world the Alpha came from. "See," Davion pointed to the shoulder wound. "Already knitting. Alpha biology. That's..." Sasha couldn't think of a word that wasn't either medical or vaguely sexual. "Fast. Useful in my line of work." Davion's dark eyes met his. "Which I suppose I should explain, since you saved my life and deserve to know what kind of danger I brought to your door." "You don't have to. I'm Mafia, Sasha. East Coast. The Sandoval family, we control everything from New York to Philadelphia. Drugs, weapons, protection, gambling. All of it." Davion's voice was matter-of-fact, no shame or apology. "I'm the Don. Have been since I was 20. Sasha processed this information while trying not to stare at Davion's abs. "So the gunshot wounds? Coup attempt. My underboss, Marco Vitelli, decided he wanted my position. Ambushed me 3 days ago with 6 men. I killed 4, escaped wounded, been running since." Davion's jaw tightened. "I was heading to a safe house in Canada when the storm hit. Navigation failed. And then I crashed into your barn." "Okay." Sasha stood, needing to move, to think without alpha pheromones clouding his judgment. "So there are people actively trying to kill you, and they might track you here. I disabled the GPS, destroyed the SUV's black box. There's no way they can. But they know you were heading north. This is the only major route to the Canadian border in this area. Once the storm clears, they'll search along this corridor." Sasha's mind was already working through scenarios, because apparently 5 years of running a failing farm had taught him tactical thinking. "We have maybe 36 hours before they start checking isolated properties." Davion stared at him. "You're not panicking. I grew up hunting, survived 5 Montana winters keeping a farm running on no money, and spent last year fighting off a pack of coyotes that were killing my livestock. Takes more than mafia drama to make me panic." Sasha moved to the window, checked the storm. Still bad, but clearing. "Besides, panicking won't help. Planning will. You're remarkable, you know that? I'm practical. There's a difference." But Sasha's Omega scent warmed at the praise anyway, betraying him. "Now get dressed. I need to check on my mom and feed the animals, and you need to eat something before your alpha healing burns through all your energy reserves." Downstairs, Selena was having a good morning, lucid, coherent, and very interested in the fact that Sasha had slept in the same room as that handsome alpha man. "Mom, it's not what you think. Oh please. I can smell the pheromones from here, and I'm a beta." Selena was making pancakes with surprising competence, her muscle memory for cooking still intact even when her short-term memory failed. "You like him. I don't know him. Your Omega biology knows him. That's enough." She flipped a pancake expertly. "When's the last time you let yourself feel something for anyone, sweetheart? 3 years? 4? I've been busy. You've been hiding." Selena's beta eyes were sharp this morning, seeing too much. "I know you gave up everything to take care of me. Your college scholarship, your football career, any chance at a normal life. And I know you think you can't have anything for yourself while I'm still here, slowly forgetting who you are." "Mom." "But baby, I'm already gone. Most days I don't even know what year it is. The me you're taking care of isn't really me anymore. Just the shell I'm leaving behind. She set down the spatula, took Sasha's hands. So please, while I'm still here enough to say this, let yourself be happy. Even if it's just for a few days with a dangerous alpha who makes you smell like contentment for the first time in years. Sasha's throat was tight. What if he leaves when the storm clears? Then you'll have had these days. And that's more than nothing. Davion appeared in the doorway, fully dressed now in clothes Sasha had found for him. Jeans and a flannel that were slightly too small but would work. He looked domestic and dangerous all at once. And when his eyes found Sasha, something in his expression softened. Good morning, Mrs. Ward. Selena, please. And good morning to you too, Mr. Sandoval. Davion Sandoval. He moved into the kitchen with the controlled grace of a predator. Thank you for letting me stay. Well, Sasha dragged you in here bleeding, so I didn't have much choice. But you seem like a nice young man. Selena handed him a plate of pancakes. Even if you are clearly involved in something illegal. Davion paused mid-reach for the syrup. What? Honey. I might have Alzheimer's, but I'm not stupid. The guns, the expensive suit, the way you check exits and windows like you're expecting an attack. You're either mafia or military, and military doesn't usually show up bleeding with fake IDs. She smiled sweetly. Just don't get my son killed, and we'll get along fine. Sasha watched Davion process being read completely by a beta woman with dementia, and had to suppress a laugh at the alpha's expression. I won't let anything happen to him, Davion said quietly, and the certainty in his voice made Sasha's Omega instincts flutter. You have my word. Good. Now eat. You're too skinny. They ate breakfast while the storm continued to rage outside, and Sasha tried to ignore how domestic this felt. Sitting around the kitchen table with his mother and an alpha, making small talk, pretending this was normal. Selena drifted in and out of lucidity, sometimes thinking Davion was Sasha's college boyfriend, sometimes thinking he was a farmhand, sometimes perfectly aware of what was happening. During a confused moment when Selena thought it was 1985, Davion helped Sasha guide her back to her room for a nap. I'm sorry, Sasha said once they were alone in the hallway. The Alzheimer's, it's getting worse. Most days she doesn't know who I am. Don't apologize. She's lovely, and you take care of her with incredible patience. Davion's hand found Sasha's, squeezed gently. How long have you been doing this alone? 5 years. Since my dad died and the diagnosis came. Sasha stared at their joined hands. She's all I have left. What about the farm? Failing. I'm 3 months behind on the mortgage. Banks threatening foreclosure. This was supposed to be our last Christmas here, but I couldn't tell her that. Couldn't take away the one place she still recognizes on good days. Sasha's voice cracked despite his best efforts. I'm losing everything. The farm, my mother, any future I might have had. And there's nothing I can do to stop it. Davion pulled him close, and Sasha let himself break for just a moment. Pressed against an alpha's chest, breathing in whiskey cedar scent, allowing himself to feel the grief and exhaustion he usually kept buried. Hey, you're still here, which means you're enjoying the story. So quick question. What's your favorite Christmas memory ever? Tell me in the comments and let's continue. I could help, Davion said quietly. With the farm, the medical bills. I have resources. No. Sasha pulled back, wiped his eyes. I don't take charity. It's not charity. It's payment for saving your life? Pity for the struggling Omega? Either way, no. Sasha's Omega scent sharpened with stubborn pride. I've made it this far on my own. I'll figure something out. Sasha, can we not do this? Please. Sasha moved toward the stairs. I need to check the barn, see how bad the damage is from your car. And you need to rest more before your alpha biology decides to burn through your healing reserves trying to be helpful. Davion caught his wrist, pulled him back. I'm trying to be helpful because I care, not because I pity you. There's a difference. You've known me for less than 24 hours. And in that time, you've saved my life, taken care of me through fever and pain, treated my wounds, protected me when you had every reason to turn me in or leave me in the snow. Davion's dark eyes were intense. You're strong and stubborn and kind even when you're struggling. How could I not care about that? That's just pheromones talking. It's not. Davion stepped closer, crowding Sasha against the wall in a way that should have been threatening, but instead made Sasha's Omega instincts purr. I've been around plenty of Omegas. Pretty ones, sophisticated ones, ones who were trying very hard to get my attention. And none of them made me feel what I feel when I look at you. What do you feel? Like I found something I didn't know I was looking for. Davion's hand came up to cup Sasha's face. Like maybe all the shit I've been through was leading me here. To you. To this moment. Sasha's breath caught. That's really intense for day 2. I'm a mafia don who got shot and crashed into your barn on Christmas Eve. Subtlety isn't really my style. Davion's thumb stroked Sasha's cheekbone. But I meant what I said last night. I can wait until you're sure this is more than just biology. Until you trust that I'm not going to hurt you or leave you or be another thing you have to take care of. And if I'm never sure, then I'll have had these few days with you. And that's more than I deserve. They stared at each other in the dim hallway, pheromones thick in the air between them, and Sasha felt something shift in his chest. Not just Omega biology responding to Alpha, but actual emotion. The scary kind. The kind that meant this was becoming real. I need to check the barn, Sasha said, pulling away before he did something stupid like kiss Davion. Stay inside. Rest. Don't do anything that'll make you bleed again. Yes, Omega, Davion said, amused. Don't call me that. Why not? That's what you are. Because when you say it like that, it sounds like a compliment. Like something good. Sasha grabbed his coat from the hook. And I'm not used to alphas thinking being Omega is good. Then you've been around the wrong alphas. Sasha fled outside before his Omega instincts could convince him to stay. The barn damage was worse in daylight. The support beam cracked, part of the roof sagging dangerously. Davion's SUV embedded in the wreckage like modern art. Sasha spent 2 hours shoring up the structure enough that it wouldn't collapse. Feeding the animals, checking fence lines. Physical labor helped. Cleared his head. Reminded him that this thing with Davion, whatever it was, had an expiration date. The storm would clear, Davion would leave, and Sasha would go back to his normal life of struggling and failing and slowly losing his mother piece by piece. Except when he came back inside, cold and exhausted, Davion had hot coffee waiting. Had figured out how to work the wood stove. Had even managed to help Selena with lunch during one of her confused episodes. Guiding her through making sandwiches with the patience of someone who understood that confusion wasn't stupidity. You didn't have to do that, Sasha said, accepting the coffee gratefully. I wanted to. She's important to you, which makes her important to me. Davion's alpha scent was warm, pleased. Besides, she told me embarrassing stories about you as a teenager. Apparently you were quite the troublemaker. I was 15 and stupid. That doesn't count. She's very proud of you. Talks about how you gave up everything to take care of her. Davion's expression was serious now. She also said you haven't let yourself have anything good in years. That you think you don't deserve it. My mother has Alzheimer's. She says a lot of things. Sasha. Davion moved closer. Do you think you deserve good things? Or have you convinced yourself that suffering is just what you do now? The question hit too close to home. Sasha set down his coffee, turned away. I should start decorating. For Christmas tomorrow. It's tradition. You're changing the subject. I'm honoring my mother's traditions while she can still appreciate them. If you want to help, great. If not, stay out of my way. Sasha spent the afternoon decorating with aggressive determination. Pulling out boxes of ornaments, stringing lights, setting up the small artificial tree because they'd sold all the good real ones. Davion helped without being asked, hanging ornaments with surprising care. And together they transformed the shabby living room into something that almost looked festive. Selena emerged from her nap lucid and delighted, clapping her hands at the decorations. Oh, it's beautiful. Just like when you were little. She hugged Sasha tight. Thank you, baby, for making this special. Always, Mom. They made dinner together, the three of them in the small kitchen. Selena directing while Sasha cooked and Davion followed instructions with the focus of someone who took even small tasks seriously. Felt like family. Like home. Like something Sasha hadn't realized he'd been missing. After dinner, Selena insisted they watch a Christmas movie. She fell asleep 20 minutes in, and Sasha carefully covered her with a blanket, kissed her forehead. She's lucky to have you, Davion said quietly. I'm lucky to have her. Even like this. Sasha settled back on the couch, suddenly exhausted. The doctors say I should put her in a facility. That trying to care for her alone while running the farm is too much. But I can't. She's my mom. She took care of me my whole life. How can I abandon her now? That's not abandonment. That's making sure she gets proper care. I know that. Logically, I know. But Sasha's voice broke. What if she has a lucid day and I'm not there? What if she forgets me completely and the last thing she remembers is being sent away? What if? Davion pulled him close, and Sasha let himself be held. Let himself cry quietly while his mother slept and the fire crackled and Christmas Eve turned into Christmas morning. "I've got you," Davion murmured against his hair. "You don't have to be strong right now. Just let me hold you." So Sasha did. Let himself be weak for once. Let himself accept comfort from an alpha who barely knew him but somehow understood exactly what he needed. When Sasha finally pulled back, Davion's thumb wiped away his tears with heartbreaking gentleness. "Sorry," Sasha muttered. "That was human. That was human." Davion's hand cupped his face. "You're allowed to break sometimes, Sasha. You're allowed to need help. I don't know how to need help. I've been doing everything alone for so long. Then let me teach you, starting with this." Davion leaned in slowly, giving Sasha time to pull away. "Can I kiss you? Not because of pheromones or biology. Because I want to. Because you're the bravest person I've ever met and I think you deserve to be kissed by someone who sees that." Sasha's heart was pounding. "This is a bad idea. Probably. You're leaving when the storm clears. Maybe. Maybe not." Davion's breath was warm against Sasha's lips. "Let's worry about that tomorrow. Right now I just want to kiss you. If you'll let me." Sasha closed the distance. The kiss was nothing like he expected, gentle, exploring, Davion's alpha strength tempered with care. His hands framed Sasha's face like he was precious. And when Sasha's Omega instincts rose to meet his alpha energy, it felt less like submission and more like choice. They kissed until Sasha's lungs burned and his Omega scent flooded the room with contentment. Until Davion's alpha pheromones wrapped around them both like safety. Until the line between biology and emotion blurred completely. When they broke apart, both breathing hard, Davion rested his forehead against Sasha's. "That was..." "Yeah," Sasha agreed, his hands still fisted in Davion's shirt. "It really was. Should we stop?" "Probably." But Sasha kissed him again anyway, deeper this time, his Omega biology singing with satisfaction as Davion's alpha responded, pulling him closer, one hand tangling in his hair. They ended up tangled together on the couch, kissing like teenagers, careful not to wake Selena, losing track of time until the clock struck midnight and Christmas officially began. "Merry Christmas," Davion murmured against Sasha's lips. "Merry Christmas." Sasha pulled back just enough to see Davion's face in the firelight. "I think this might be the strangest Christmas I've ever had. Same, but also the best. You got shot and crashed into my barn. And then I met you. So, best." Davion's smile was soft, genuine. "Thank you, Sasha, for saving me, for taking care of me, for letting me be here. Where else would you go? There's a blizzard. I could have died in that barn. You chose to drag me inside, patch me up, share your space and your food and your mother's stories. You didn't have to do any of that." Davion's hand found Sasha's, their fingers lacing together. "So thank you, for choosing kindness when you had every reason not to." Sasha didn't know what to say to that, so he just kissed Davion again, softer this time, trying to convey everything he couldn't put into words. They fell asleep on the couch still tangled together. Davion's alpha scent wrapped around Sasha like a promise. And for the first time in 5 years, Sasha let himself hope that maybe things could be different. Maybe he could have something good. Just maybe. Christmas morning dawned clear and cold, the blizzard finally moving on. Sasha woke to the smell of coffee and the sound of his mother singing in the kitchen. A good day, then. Lucid. Davion was already up, moving around the kitchen with the ease of someone whose gunshot wounds were almost fully healed. Alpha biology at work. "Morning," Sasha said, accepting the coffee Davion offered. "You look better. Told you, fast healer." Davion's shoulder was down to pink scars now, the side wound barely visible. "Should be completely healed by tonight." "That's actually kind of amazing. Comes in handy." Davion's hand found the small of Sasha's back, a casual touch that felt possessive and right. "Your mother's having a good morning. She wants to open presents." "We don't really have..." Sasha stopped, noticing the small pile of wrapped items under the tree that definitely hadn't been there last night. "What did you do?" "Found some things around the house. Wrapped them. It's Christmas." Davion looked almost embarrassed. "Is that okay?" Sasha's chest felt too full. "Yeah, that's really okay." They spent the morning doing the most normal Christmas things. Opening presents. Davion had wrapped random items like fancy soaps, a book from the shelf, one of Sasha's own scarves that he then immediately gave back. Drinking cocoa, Selena telling stories about past Christmases when Sasha was young. Felt like family. felt like home. It felt like something Sasha could almost let himself want. Around noon, Selena went down for her nap, and Sasha found himself helping Davion check the perimeter. A habit the Alpha couldn't shake even on Christmas. "It's beautiful out here," Davion said, surveying the snow-covered valley. "I can see why you fight so hard to keep it. It's been in my family for 3 generations. My grandfather started it, my dad expanded it, and I'm the one who's going to lose it." Sasha kicked at the snow. "Some legacy. Or you could accept help. Let me pay off the mortgage, cover your mother's medical care. Keep the farm in your family where it belongs." Davion turned to face him. "And before you say it's charity, it's not. It's investment. In you. In us. In whatever this is becoming." "Davion, I know it's fast. I know it seems impossible. But Sasha, in 2 days you've become the most important person in my life." Davion's alpha scent was sincere, vulnerable. "I want to take care of you, not because you're weak or because I pity you, but because taking care of the people we love is what we do. And I think I'm falling in love with you." Sasha's Omega instincts were screaming yes, but his brain knew better. "You can't love me. You barely know me. I know you're strong and stubborn and kind. I know you take care of your mother with endless patience. I know you saved a stranger's life without hesitation. I know you kiss like it matters and you smell like home and you make me want things I didn't think I could have." Davion stepped closer. "What else do I need to know? That I'm not special, Davion. I'm just an Omega trying to survive. Nothing remarkable. You're remarkable to me. That's all that matters." They stared at each other in the snow, and Sasha felt his walls crumbling. All the defenses he'd built, all the reasons this couldn't work, all the fear that this was too good to be real. "I'm scared," Sasha admitted. "I'm scared you'll leave when you remember you have a whole life that doesn't include me. I'm scared this is just proximity and pheromones. I'm scared." Davion kissed him, deep and claiming, his alpha pheromones flooding with possession and promise. When they broke apart, Davion's hand cupped Sasha's face. "I'm not leaving, not unless you make me. And this isn't just proximity, it's you. Everything about you. Your people will come looking. Let them come. You're under my protection now. Anyone who threatens you threatens me." Davion's voice dropped to pure alpha command. "You're mine, Sasha Ward. If you'll have me." Sasha's Omega biology was singing, his scent flooding with acceptance and want. The sound of engines cut him off. Multiple vehicles approaching fast, the noise carrying across the valley. Davion's entire demeanor shifted instantly from gentle alpha to dangerous predator. "Get inside. Now." "What?" "They found me. Marco's people." Davion was already moving, pulling Sasha toward the house. "Get your mother to the basement. Stay there until I come for you. I'm not hiding while you—" "Sasha." Davion gripped his shoulders, his alpha scent sharp with command and fear. "Please, let me protect you. That's what alphas do for their Omegas. Let me do this." 3 black SUVs were racing up the drive, kicking up snow. Sasha's heart was pounding, but his Omega instincts recognized the truth. Davion was his alpha now, whether they'd officially claimed or not. And letting his alpha protect him wasn't weakness, it was trust. "Okay, but you don't die. That's an order." Davion's smile was fierce. "Yes, Omega." He kissed Sasha hard and fast, then pushed him toward the house. "Go. Now." Sasha ran. The next 10 minutes were chaos. Sasha got his mother to the basement. She was confused, scared, asking what was happening. And then against every instinct, he grabbed his father's rifle and headed back upstairs. Outside, gunfire erupted. Sasha positioned himself at the second-floor window with a clear view of the driveway. 8 men had gotten out of the SUVs, all armed, all advancing on the house. Davion was behind the barn, using it for cover, and Sasha watched as his alpha moved with lethal efficiency. Shooting, taking cover, eliminating threats with the cold precision of someone who'd done this 1,000 times. But 8 against 1 was bad odds, even for an alpha. Sasha took aim, breathed out slowly the way his father had taught him, and fired. One of the attackers went down. Davion's head snapped toward the house, and even from this distance Sasha could see his expression. Shock, fear, and something that might have been pride. Then Davion was moving again, using Sasha's cover fire to advance, and together they systematically took down the attackers. Sasha had grown up hunting. His aim was good, his hand steady, and he dropped 3 men before the others realized they were being flanked. The tide turned quickly after that. Two men retreated to their vehicles and Davion let them go, probably to report back that the Don was alive and protected. The fight ended as abruptly as it started. 6 bodies in the snow, 2 escaped, and an eerie silence settling over the farm. Davion appeared at the front door, and Sasha nearly fell down the stairs getting to him. "Are you hurt?" "Did they?" "I'm fine. But you—" Davion grabbed Sasha's face, checking him over. "You were supposed to stay in the basement. And let you die? Fuck that. You could have been killed. So could you." Sasha's Omega scent was sharp with adrenaline and fear and anger. "You don't get to risk your life and then be mad at me for doing the same thing. That's different. Because you're the alpha? Because you're supposed to protect me? Well, guess what? I'm capable of protecting myself. And you. So deal with it." They glared at each other, both breathing hard, covered in snow and adrenaline, and then Davion kissed him. Claiming, possessive, his alpha pheromones flooding with something primal and overwhelming. "You're mine," Davion growled against his lips. "Mine to protect. Mine to keep safe. Mine. Then you're mine too. And that means you don't get to die protecting me. Deal? Deal." Davion kissed him again, softer this time. "You're incredible. Terrifying and incredible. I've never met an Omega who shoots people trying to kill their alpha. Yeah, well, I'm special like that. You are. So freaking special." Davion pulled back, suddenly all business. "But we need to move. Those 2 who escaped will report back. Marco will send more people better prepared. We're not safe here. My mother. We'll take her. My people are already on their way. I called them during the fight. We'll get you both somewhere safe. Deal with Marco permanently, and then—" Davion hesitated. "And then you decide. If you want to stay with me. If you want this life. No pressure. No obligations. Just choice." Sasha looked at the farm he'd been fighting to save, the land he'd poured 5 years of his life into. Looked at his mother in the doorway, lucid enough to understand danger. Looked at Davion, bloodied and fierce, and looking at Sasha like he was the most precious thing in the world. The choice wasn't as hard as it should have been. The next 8 months were a blur of violence, strategy, and rebuilding an empire from ashes. They'd left Montana in the dead of night, but not before securing Selena in a temporary care facility in Billings. Somewhere safe. Somewhere the Bratva war wouldn't touch her. Sasha had kissed his mother goodbye, promised he'd be back, and tried not to think about how completely his life was about to change. Returning to New York meant war. Marco's faction had consolidated power, spread lies about Davion's weakness, positioned themselves as the new leadership. But Davion had something Marco didn't: loyalty earned through respect rather than fear, and an Omega partner who turned out to be a tactical genius when it came to destabilizing opposition. Sasha had never known he had it in him, this ability to fit into the brutal world of organized crime. He'd spent 29 years as a Montana tree farmer, and suddenly he was sitting in on strategy meetings, identifying weak points in Marco's network, using his understanding of business operations to choke out the trader's cash flow. With Davion, he fit into this world in ways that should have terrified him but instead felt right. Natural. Like he'd been preparing for this his entire life without knowing it. The violence was surgical and swift. Davion called in every favor, reached out to the few loyal allies who'd stayed true during his absence. By March, they'd eliminated Marco and his closest supporters. By June, Davion had systematically reclaimed every territory, every operation, every piece of the Sandoval Empire that had been stolen. The opposition was wiped out. Not just defeated, but erased so completely that no one would dare challenge Davion's leadership again. By August, Davion had complete control. The Sandoval Bratva was his again, stronger and more unified than it had been in years. By October, there was stability. Businesses running smoothly, money flowing properly, the family structure rebuilt with Davion as the undisputed Don and Sasha as his partner in everything. And in October, they'd found Selena a permanent facility, the best in New York, close enough that Sasha could visit weekly. She had good days and bad days, but she was safe, cared for, and on her lucid days she'd smile at Davion and call him "my son's husband," with such pride that it made both men's eyes sting. Because yes, Davion had proposed. On a quiet night in September, in the rebuilt Sandoval estate, with no fanfare or grand gestures, just the two of them and a ring that had belonged to Davion's grandmother. Sasha had accepted without a second thought, sliding the ring onto his finger and pulling his alpha into a kiss that tasted like promise and forever. Now here they were, December, exactly 1 year since a wounded alpha had crashed into a Montana barn and changed everything. Christmas morning in the Sandoval estate was excessive by anyone's standards. Massive tree, professionally decorated, presents piled so high that Sasha had given up trying to count them. "This is ridiculous," Sasha said, curled up on the couch in silk pajamas that probably cost more than his entire wardrobe used to. "We don't need this many presents. Humor me. It's our first Christmas as bonded mates." Davion sat beside him, pulling Sasha into his lap with the casual possessiveness that had become normal over the past year. "And I like spoiling you. You already paid off my farm, set up a trust for my mother's care, and bought me a car. I think that counts as spoiled. That was necessity. This is fun." Davion nuzzled into Sasha's neck, scenting him contentedly. "Besides, your mother specifically requested we go overboard this year since it's her first Christmas in the new facility, and she wanted to make sure we celebrated properly." Selena was doing remarkably well. The expensive care facility Davion had found specialized in Alzheimer's patients, and while she still had bad days, her good days were more frequent. She'd been lucid enough last week to tease them mercilessly about their mating bond and demand grandchildren. "How is she?" Sasha asked. "Excited to see us later. The staff said she's been telling everyone about her son who married into the MAFIA like a romance novel." Davion's smile was fond. "She's not wrong. This is not a romance novel. Romance novels don't have shootouts." "Sure they do. Just the good ones." Davion handed Sasha a small wrapped box. "Open this one first." Inside was a key, old-fashioned, iron, clearly decorative. "What's this?" "Key to your Christmas present, which is outside." Davion stood, pulled Sasha to his feet. "Come on." They walked through the massive estate to the garage, and Sasha stopped dead at what he saw. A brand new pickup truck, forest green, with Ward family trees painted on the side in elegant script. "What? Your farm is paid off. The land is secure. And I thought maybe you'd want to actually run it again, properly this time with real funding and support." Davion wrapped his arms around Sasha from behind. "You could expand, hire help, maybe even make it profitable. I know how much you loved it before circumstances made it impossible." Sasha's eyes were burning. "Davion, this is too much? Not enough. Tell me what you're thinking, Omega." "I'm thinking you're the most incredible alpha I've ever met. And I love you. And I can't believe this is my life now. Better than struggling alone in Montana? Better than anything I ever imagined." Sasha turned in Davion's arms, kissed him properly. "Thank you. For this. For everything. For seeing me when I thought I was invisible. You were never invisible. You were just waiting for someone who knew how to look." Davion's hand found Sasha's, their bonding marks, matching scars on their wrists from the ceremony 6 months ago, visible in the morning light. "And I'm never going to stop looking. You're mine, Sasha Ward Sandoval. For better or worse. Forever." "Forever," Sasha agreed, his Omega scent flooding with contentment and love and home. "Even when you're being a dramatic alpha about Christmas presents. Especially then." They kissed in the garage surrounded by excessive wealth and Christmas decorations, and Sasha thought about how a year ago he'd been alone, struggling, convinced he'd never have anything good, and then a wounded alpha had crashed into his barn, and everything had changed. Not easily. Not without complications. Davion's world was dangerous. There had been 2 more attempts on his life, both handled with lethal efficiency. The MAFIA politics were exhausting. The constant security was suffocating sometimes. But Davion loved him, chose him, made space for Sasha to be exactly who he was, strong and stubborn and capable, not some delicate Omega who needed coddling. And that was worth everything. "I have a present for you too," Sasha said, pulling back from the kiss. "But you have to wait until tonight to open it." "That's cruel. That's revenge for making me wait for the truck." Sasha grinned. "Trust me, it'll be worth it." That evening, after visiting Selena and having dinner with Davion's people, who'd become something like family, Sasha presented his gift. A small envelope with ultrasound photos inside. Davion stared at the images, his alpha sense spiking with shock and joy and overwhelming emotion. We're 8 weeks. The doctor confirmed it yesterday." Sasha's hands were shaking despite his attempt at calm. "Surprise. You're going to be a father." Davion pulled him into a kiss that tasted like salt and joy, his alpha pheromones flooding the room with pure happiness. When they broke apart, both crying, Davion's hand rested on Sasha's still flat stomach with reverent care. "Thank you," Davion whispered. "Thank you for this. For us. For everything. Thank you for crashing into my barn. Best accident I ever had. They spent the rest of Christmas wrapped around each other, making plans and promises, Davion's hand never leaving Sasha's stomach, both of them marveling at how life could change so completely in such a short time. Outside, snow fell over the Sandoval estate, and somewhere in Montana, the Ward family farm stood secure and paid for, waiting for spring when Sasha would return to rebuild what he'd almost lost. But right now, in this moment, Sasha was home. Not a place, not a building. Home was this alpha who chose him, loved him, saw him. Home was the baby growing inside him, already loved beyond measure. Home was finally believing he deserved good things. And this was the best thing of all. The end. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this story, let me know in the comments, and feel free to share it with a friend who might love it too. See you in the next story.